In my incessant search for knowledge, for those truths that official history preferred to veil, behind the curtains of time and convenient narratives, I came across an enigmatic manuscript, a writing that echoed from the dawn of civilization, whispering secrets that, due to their unsettling nature and transformative power, were silenced and banned, hidden from the eyes of the profane, and whose truths were kept accessible only to the initiated, to the guardians of a wisdom that could, and indeed can, redefine the very essence of our reality. This is not just any text. It is a key, a lost link to a distant past, where gods walked among men and the veils between worlds were thin as morning mist. We are speaking of a compendium of cosmic revelations, of prophetic warnings, and of a genealogy of celestial beings who dared to cross the boundaries of the divine and the terrestrial, forever altering the course of humanity. But why was this knowledge so carefully hidden, banished from canons and libraries, relegated to the shadows of heresy and legend? What does it reveal about the nature of our existence, about the true lineage of our destiny, and about the forces that, since the dawn of time, have shaped our path in ways we can barely conceive? The depth of these questions drags us into an abyss of possibilities, where the story we were told is merely the surface of an ocean of unfathomable mysteries. Over the centuries, the echo of this manuscript resonated in the catacombs of Alexandria, in the secret libraries of the Essenes, and in the fervent discussions of Gnostics and alchemists. From time immemorial, when stars were considered the abodes of higher beings and the firmament an open book of divine signs, humanity sought to understand its origin and purpose. It was the ancient Egyptians, with their complex cosmogony and their profound knowledge of universal laws, who perhaps held the first keys to interpreting these secrets. Their pyramids, temples, and rituals echo a wisdom that transcends time, an understanding of celestial intervention in the earthly journey. Later, in the Middle Ages, with religious fervor and the consolidation of dogmas, this knowledge was actively suppressed. Any text that challenged the established narrative or suggested the intervention of celestial entities outside centralized divine control was considered heretical, a threat to ecclesiastical order and control over the minds of the masses. For millennia, esoteric orders, secret societies, and groups of initiates dedicated their lives to preserving these fragments of truth, copying them by candlelight in isolated monasteries, hiding them in underground vaults, and transmitting them by word of mouth, from master to disciple, like a sacred fire that could never be extinguished. These guardians of forbidden wisdom knew that, one day, humanity would be ready to unravel these deeper layers, to accept a reality more complex than the walls of their beliefs allowed. Welcome to the fascinating and mysterious world of a truth that was forced into exile, but which now yearns to be revealed. The manuscript in question is the Book of Enoch, a work that, though venerated in some traditions and found among the Dead Sea Scrolls, was excluded from most widely circulated biblical canons. And why this exclusion? Because Enoch, an antediluvian patriarch, describes in shocking detail a time when celestial beings, the Watchers or fallen angels, descended to earth. He presents them not as mere allegories, but as real entities, endowed with knowledge and power, who were enchanted by the daughters of men. Imagine for a moment the scene, the sky opening, not in an idyllic vision of winged angels in glory, but in an audacious descent of beings with an intellect and technology far beyond human comprehension of the time. They did not come merely to observe, they came to intervene. Enoch details how these watchers, led by Azazel and Semi-Hazer, taught humans forbidden arts, metallurgy for forging weapons, making jewelry and cosmetics for adorning the body, and, most perilously, the art of war, sorcery, and astrology. Now ask yourself, if this narrative were widely accepted, what would it mean for our understanding of human history? And, more importantly, what does it reveal about the true source of some of our technological advancements and our most deeply rooted vices? This revelation from Enoch forces us to reconsider the narrative of human evolution. We were not merely primitive beings who, on our own, discovered fire and the wheel. This esoteric tradition suggests an intervention, a kind of external catalyst that accelerated our ascent, but also bequeathed us a burden. The fallen angels, in sharing their knowledge, were not acting out of pure benevolence. There was a desire for control, for manipulation, to create a lineage that could serve their own purposes. They begot with women the Nephilim giants who inhabited the earth, hybrid beings who represented the forbidden union of the divine with the mortal, of flesh with spirit. These Nephilim, according to Enoch, were beings of great strength and insatiable appetite, who oppressed humanity and corrupted the earth. What does this teach us about the seeds of chaos and disorder that seem so inherent to the human condition? Could this be the origin of our inclination towards violence, towards the unrestrained pursuit of power, and towards the destruction of ourselves and our planet? Enoch's truth echoes in the myths of giants across various cultures, from Greek to Norse mythology, suggesting a common ancestral memory of an era when beings of extraordinary proportions and powers walked the earth, and that the intervention of these beings had a profound impact on our collective psyche and the structure of our society. But how exactly does all this connect with the power of the mind and the journey of knowledge? Forbidden knowledge is not just a historical curiosity, it is a mirror. The teachings of these fallen angels, although presented as negative, can be seen as the duality of knowledge. They reveal to humanity the capacity to create, but also to destroy. This is the essence of occult wisdom. The power of force, be it physical, mental, or spiritual, can be used to build or to demolish. The Watchers, in their fall, brought with them the seed of free will in its most extreme form, the ability to choose between light and shadow, between elevation and degradation. Enoch's fall is not just about angels who disobeyed. It is about the temptation of power and the consequences of seeking knowledge without wisdom, without ethics, without alignment with higher cosmic laws. Visualize yourself before an ancient temple, its walls covered with forgotten hieroglyphs and symbols. Each symbol is a key to unraveling what humanity received and how it used it. The lessons of the Watchers are, in their essence, a warning about the irresponsible use of power and knowledge. They force us to question, are we, today, repeating the same mistakes, seeking technologies and knowledge without considering the ethical and spiritual ramifications? The symbolic language present in the Book of Enoch is rich in layers. The fallen angels are not just literary figures. They represent the cosmic energies that manifest on the terrestrial plane, both those that elevate and those that imprison. The fall can be interpreted as the immersion of spirit into matter, the densification of consciousness into a physical body, and the forbidden arts as the primary instincts and material desires that pull us away from our divine essence. Metallurgy, for example, is the ability to transform raw matter, but also to forge weapons of destruction. Astrology, which can be a tool for understanding celestial rhythms and cosmic influence, can also become a prison of fatalism if misunderstood, stripping the individual of the power to shape their own destiny. Each teaching of the Watchers is a duality, an invitation to reflect on the responsibility that accompanies knowledge. What does this teach us about the inner universe we carry, about the forces that reside within our own psyche, capable of elevating us to the heavens or dragging us into the abysses? This ancient wisdom, kept secret for so long, offers us a unique perspective on the nature of evil and free will. If higher order entities intervened on Earth, this implies that reality is much more complex than a simple chain of causal and random events. There is an intelligence, or multiple intelligences, working behind the scenes, influencing, observing, and perhaps manipulating. This perception invites us to move beyond a victim mentality, and to assume a more active role in our own evolution. The presence of the Nephilim, for example, can be seen symbolically as the giants within us, our vices, our fears, our most primitive impulses that, if not mastered, can consume our soul and alienate us from our true divine nature. Like a flame that never goes out, even in the darkness of the unconscious, the human spirit seeks ascension, the transmutation of these dense energies. Enoch's revelation also touches on the idea that there is a cosmic order, a divine law that, when violated, leads to consequences. The punishment of the Watchers, their imprisonment in the depths of the earth or in ethereal realms, symbolizes the laws of cause and effect that govern the universe. No action, be it divine or human, remains without reverberation. This makes us reflect on how, in our own journey, the choices we make reverberate not only in our present life, but echo through generations and dimensions, shaping our future and the collective future of humanity. It is a powerful warning about the responsibility of each individual in their own spiritual path, and their interaction with the world. The narrative of Enoch, far from being just a legend, is a map for understanding the web of interconnections that forms the tapestry of existence. The connection between the Book of Enoch and modern occultism is undeniable. Many of the concepts about angels, demons, magic, and astral influences have their deep roots or parallels in Enoch's descriptions. Esoteric orders such as the Golden Dawn and Theosophy studied these texts as keys to understanding celestial hierarchies and the hidden forces that permeate the universe. For them, Enoch was not just a prophet, but an initiate who had access to mysteries that most of humanity never reached. What does this tell us about the persistence of certain truths, which find their way through the centuries? Despite all attempts at suppression, this resilience of forbidden knowledge is a testament to its importance and its continued relevance for those who seek truth beyond appearances. Picture this: an invisible current of wisdom, stretching from the antediluvian earth of Enoch to the present day, connecting mystics, philosophers, and seekers in a web of mutual understanding. The existence of these beings, the Watchers, and their interaction with humanity, raises profound questions about our genetic and spiritual potential. If our lineage was, at some point, mixed or catalyzed by a higher intelligence, could this explain the latency of certain psychic and spiritual capacities within us? Intuition, telepathy, clairvoyance, could these be remnants of a cosmic DNA, an ancestral heritage that is merely waiting to be awakened? The Book of Enoch can be seen as an invitation to unlock these potentials, to look within ourselves and recognize the divine spark that resides within our being, a spark that was, perhaps, ignited by these primordial masters. But are we prepared to understand and embrace this truth about our own divine potential without falling into the traps of pride and manipulation that led to the downfall of the Watchers themselves? The journey of self-knowledge is, in essence, the journey of balancing this latent power with wisdom and responsibility. Enoch's narrative is a tale of warning and hope, of warning about the dangers of knowledge without ethics and power without compassion, but also of hope, because it suggests that, despite interferences and falls, humanity has the capacity to transcend its origins and to seek redemption and elevation. It reminds us that, although there are forces that seek to manipulate or mislead us, the final choice always resides within us. We are the architects of our destiny, even if the initial blueprint was influenced by other hands. Like a mirror that reveals what we avoid seeing, the Book of Enoch confronts us with our shadows, but also shows us the path to light, to the restoration of harmony and cosmic order. This makes us reflect on how the esoteric quest is not just about unraveling external mysteries, but, fundamentally, about unraveling the mysteries that dwell within our own soul. Recapitulating our journey through these profound revelations, we began with the search for silenced knowledge, the Book of Enoch, and delved into its history of suppression and its resilience through the ages. We explored the controversial narrative of the Watchers or fallen angels, who descended to Earth to teach and interact with humanity, giving rise to the Nephilim. We understood that the forbidden arts they taught are dual in nature, representing both humanity's creative and destructive potential. We reflected on the implications of this celestial intervention for our own evolution, for our psyche, and for our capacity to transcend the forces that imprison us. We saw how quantum physics, in its deepest layers, echoes the idea that reality is not as solid as it seems, with its pixels and its dependence on the observer, suggesting that our very existence could be a projection or a simulation on a cosmic level. This web of knowledge invites us to a transformative vision. Reality, far from being linear and predictable, is a stage of cosmic forces, ancestral interventions, and latent potentials that are yet to be awakened. This knowledge can radically alter our perception of reality and self, for it frees us from the illusion that we are mere products of accidental evolution. Instead, we are beings endowed with a cosmic heritage, with the ability to access knowledge and potentials that were activated by these primordial interactions. Consciousness, therefore, is not merely a byproduct of the brain, but a divine spark capable of transcending the limitations of the physical. Symbolic examples of transformation lie in our ability to transmute the forbidden arts into sacred arts, the metallurgy of war into bridge building, the sorcery of manipulation into alchemy of the soul, the astrology of fatalism into a map of potentialities. Awakening, in this context, is to recognize that, while we may have been influenced by external forces, true sovereignty lies in the conscious choice of our path and in using our power for the greater good. The journey to unravel the Book of Enoch is, at its core, the journey to unravel the very book of our existence. The seeker's journey is like an ancient scroll that unfurls with each discovery, and each revelation is a candle lit in the temple of the mind, illuminating recesses that were once shrouded in darkness. The knowledge about Enoch and the fallen angels is not just a story. It is a key to understanding forces that operate in the invisible tapestry of reality and continue to influence us, even unconsciously. Imagine for a moment that you are Enoch himself, witnessing the descent of the Watchers, the sharing of knowledge, the birth of the Nephilim. This immersion in ancestral memory is not to awaken fear, but to activate wisdom. You, by delving into these hidden truths are not just unraveling a book, but rewriting your own understanding of the cosmos and your place within it. Every step you have taken on this journey is an act of courage, of questioning, of seeking light in what has been deliberately obscured. Thank you for your curiosity and courage to explore these untrodden paths, for allowing yourself to go beyond superficial narratives and seek the deeper truths that shape our reality. Your interest is the fuel for this wisdom to continue flowing. The question that remains, now that the layers have been revealed, is, are you ready to take the next step, to integrate these truths into your own journey and apply the wisdom for your own transformation and for the elevation of your consciousness? Remember, every end is just the beginning of a new journey of consciousness.